Hey everyone, TyBri Long here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Marvel Rivals video. This time I've stumbled onto a video from the same person actually, I think. 100 Marvel Rival tips and tricks. Learn everything. I want to watch this because I have really not watched a lot of educational content on Marvel Rivals. I have mostly watched hero-specific stuff. Like I've watched part of a Mantis unranked GM, and I've watched some Cloak and Dagger educational video and Loki educational videos. And that's about where I stopped because those are the people who I was grinding and or confused about. But let's see this. I want to see this.
I've compiled 100 tips and tricks for Marvel Rivals and put them all in this one video. There's so much going on in this game, and there's also so much that you would just never even know unless you watch a video like this. From the best settings to use, hero-specific tricks, gameplay strategies, and secret advice you never knew before. We'll be covering it all in this one video. Without wasting any time, tip 1. When Mantis puts someone to sleep, there's a purple Mantis soul behind it. This is important because if an enemy Mantis sleeps your teammate, you can quickly destroy the soul to wake up your teammate right away. So shields block incoming damage, which of course makes it difficult to deal any damage, but you can damage enemies through the shield with melee, which is really helpful for finishing off tanks. But keep in mind you can melee through the bubble shields like the ones Magneto and Hulk have. This next tip is very important, especially if your healers suck. The mission vehicle or payload, whatever you want to call it, it heals you whenever you're close to it. So playing near it makes winning fights much easier, and it helps keep you alive when you aren't getting much health. Keep in mind the healing.
It's kind of like Overwatch, isn't it? Yeah.
Playing near it makes
I never noticed it, but yeah.
And it helps keep you alive when you aren't getting much health. Keep in mind the healing only applies to the attacking team, so the defense team is just out of luck. As Spider-Man or Venom, go to your settings and turn off Easy Swing. With Easy Swing turned off, you can choose exactly what you want to swing off of, which gives you a lot more control over your movement. It will take a bit of time to get used to, but it's well worth learning if you plan on being the best Spidey or the best Venom you can be. At the start of each round, switch to...
I don't ever plan to play Spider-Man, so that'll be the day. If I ever have to go into those specific settings, I must be bored of some of the heroes I play, and I just decided, you know what, Venom, Spider-Man today, let's do it.
Well worth learning if you plan on being the best Spidey or the best Venom you can be. At the start of each round, switch to Rocket Raccoon and throw down your BRB. It will shoot out little armor packs for your team to pick up, then you can swap back to any other hero before the match starts, and everyone that picked up those armor packs will still have them. And if you really want you can also pick Jeff at the start of the round to spit bubbles at your teammates to give them a speed boost out of the spawn. And quickly
I think they changed that though. Does it do speed boost? How old is this? 2 months ago? They reworked Jeff, so I don't know. Is a speed boost still a thing?
Back to the
I don't play Jeff, so...
Always try to play with the cover to the left of your hero. And this is because of how third person works in Marvel Rivals. You need to peek out much further when peeking out to the left compared to when you're peeking out to the right. When you take a look at the enemy's POV, you can see how much easier of a target you are when you peek out of the wrong side. Your movement speed in Marvel Rivals is momentum based, meaning that every time you change directions, your speed is slow. So instead of doing the normal strafe you do in most other games where you just strafe back and forth, you want to be strafing in a figure 8 pattern to keep up
some kind of circle, yeah.
A much more difficult target to hit. Try to keep a mental note of what ultimates you think the enemies have. This will help you determine the best positioning for the situation, and you might be able to save some of your abilities to counter their ultimate. Whenever possible, try to eliminate the strategist first. With the strategist being the only heroes that can really heal, taking one of them down makes the rest of the team crumble apart. Then on the other hand, if your team strategists die first, then your team will likely lose the team fight, which is why you need to prioritize protecting your support, especially when they're being focused by the enemy. Black Widow's headshots don't do quite enough damage to one-shot the squishy enemy. With any sort of increased damage in the game, like Rocket's ultimate, or even a simple Mantis damage boost, it will boost her over the edge and allow her to one-shot enemies, making her significantly stronger. This tip is really hard for some of you to hear, but you need to get out of the mindset of focusing on your stats. They can be very misleading and also hide your flaws. For example, maybe you think you're doing really well because you have a ton of damage, but all you're doing is shooting the tanks who are then being healed by the support. But then if you focused on the supports first, you would have a lot less damage, so your actual damage stat wouldn't look as good, but your overall value in the game would be much better. So try your best not to be...
That is why I don't look at the stats board. I look at a situation, each situation, and go, what could I have done to stay alive, help someone else stay alive, or got the kill? Those are like my 3 questions I ask myself every time. And when I'm playing strategists specifically, when I'm playing other heroes, it's roughly the same questions, but that is why I don't care about the stats board that much. Now, I look at it to analyze myself. I will say that. But I never look at it and go, oh man, our Magneto sucked. Like, it's never a thing. That is literally never a thing for me. I always take a look at the stats board to see how I compare with the rest of the team. Did I do enough healing? Do I remember if every time I looked at Magneto, he was dead? Did I get to him too late every single time? Does our Psylocke have zero kills because every time she needed healing, I never looked at her? That kind of thing. Like, I always am like looking for what I can do to get better, because you are the only common denominator in every single game that you play. And if you go on massive losing streaks, it cannot be everyone else all the time. It just cannot be. You are the only person who's always in your games. So, kind of important.
Actual damage stat wouldn't look as good, but your overall value in the game would be much better. So try your best not to be misled by your stats and learn the next tip. A lot of abilities won't let you contest the objective, such as a Loki when he's invisible, Psylocke's ultimate, or even an underground Jeff. You need to be learning the abilities that you contest, as 1 second off of the objective in overtime can cause you to straight up lose the game. You can reposition Strange's first portal by clicking left on your mouse or the right trigger or controller after starting your portal. And with his tech, you can pull off some straight up game-winning portals, such as ones that block off the choke points so enemies can't get to the objective. In the domination game mode, your ultimate charge and ability cooldown carries over to the next round. So if you know you're going to win the round, it's best to save your ultimate so you can give your team the advantage in the next round. But then if you're losing and there's no chance of winning,
I've wasted so many goddamn ults at the end of rounds and then going, oh fuck, we didn't need that, did we? And like it's not like it didn't help. Like it could have been like sometimes it's like a tight fight and I'm like, ooh, I don't know if we're gonna lose this, and so I pop it. And then retrospectively, I'm like, I didn't need that. What was I doing? What was I thinking? What's wrong with me? So
that's to save your ultimate so you can get
it
an
happens.
advantage in the next round. But then if you're losing and there's no chance of winning, it's also worth saving your ultimate so you can hopefully use it in the next round to help bring your team back. That being said, I do think it's better to use your ultimate and win the round than save it and potentially lose the round. After you capture a point,
I didn't think that Magneto ult was gonna kill Luna. Magneto ult can kill Luna through her ult? See, this is why I'm watching this video. There's stuff that I'm learning, not even necessarily from watching from hearing the tips and tricks, but also, yes, through the tips and tricks, but also I'm watching the gameplay and going, whoa, I didn't know that worked like that.
you think it's better to use your ultimate and win the round than save it and potentially lose the round. After you capture a point on the convoy and convergence maps, push up to the enemy spawn to pick off any players stuck without their team. This can help your team keep the man advantage, and you can steamroll through the map. Learn the locations of the health packs around each map, especially if you do play a flanking duel.
Super important for all the fast moving characters. If you are super duper quick, you should not need a support to get to you to heal you, or to chase you around the map to keep you healed. You should be able to just swing around to the health packs. You could probably swing to a health pack faster than someone could heal you to full health. So you gotta know how to do that. And actually, everyone should know how to do that. Everyone should always be paying attention to where the closest health packs are so they can run to it if they really, really need it. You should be playing around good positions so you can stay alive and survive. So
You're not going to be always in a good position for the healers to help you out, so knowing where the health packs are will keep you alive much longer. When you're playing Groot, you can change the angles of your walls, and this lets you pull off some really creative plays like building a ramp up to high ground. But another trick you can do as Groot is stack your walls to make a double height wall. It's definitely not something you'd use all the time, but I'm sure there's a few niche scenarios it might come in handy. You need to be abusing team up combos if you want to climb the ring. By simply tailoring your team composition to give yourself 1 or 2 team up abilities gives you a massive advantage in every single team.
I'm starting to learn that because I'm currently just barely below gold. I think if I grinded a few matches right now, I could probably climb into low gold 3. But I'm starting to learn that like the team ups really matter, And so I have been that's one of the things that has made one tricking in this game really, really hard. Whereas Overwatch has leaned into every hero can be strong in their own way with the perks. And especially in Stadium, where there's like a full skill tree for every single hero, and it's very different. Those team ups are game changing, so can vouch for that.
Every person you have on the mission vehicle will move it faster to a max of 3 players. In other words, having 3 players on the payload will move it the fastest. For a lot of the melee heroes in the game, make sure you go into your settings and turn on attack range hint. This will cause the enemies to glow if they're in range of your melee ability.
What? That's a thing? Oh, I need to turn that on for like a chunk of the tanks, because I'm terrible with the depth perception on melee abilities. At least in third person. I don't know what it is. I could play melee heroes in Overwatch. I play Brigitte, and I play some Ryan sometimes, and I can almost always tell if I swing right now, I'm gonna hit someone. But in Rivals, I struggle. So that might be really useful actually.
Players on the payload will move it the fastest. For a lot of the melee heroes in the game, make sure you go into your settings and turn on attack range hint. This will cause the enemies to glow if they're in range of your melee abilities, which makes those heroes just a little bit easier. This next tip may go against any advice you heard from other players, but do not use healing reticle feedback. Basically what it does is give you a giant green hit marker every time you heal your teammate. That might sound good, but it makes
it's visual clutter.
Difficult to aim as you can barely see what you're shooting at.
Yes.
100 tips and tricks videos.
I kind of go back and forth on whether I like that. So yeah, I could see it. Like it what it does is it makes an extra thing on your screen appear to show you that you're healing. But you also will know that if you're intentionally doing stuff. Like if you're intentionally like looking at the Psylocke and going, I need to heal her, and then click the heal button, you're gonna just know that that's who you healed. And for people who are kind of like kind of coasting by and just like throwing abilities out, it would be helpful for those people. I could totally see it. But it would just be better to just be intentional about it. So, because yeah, it is clutter in the center of your screen where you're trying to aim with. So.
Sound good, but it makes it a lot more difficult to aim as you can barely see what you're shooting at. These 100 tips and tricks videos take a long time to make, so if you have the time, you're enjoying this video, and you want to see some more Marvel Rivals, hit that subscribe button. As Moon Knight, if you want to quickly get some height and
You heard him. You heard him. Go to Acidi. I don't even know how to say that. I'm probably butchering it. Acidi, and subscribe. This video should have way more views than my video should have, okay? If I have more than 10k views, I'm gonna hunt all of you down.
Instead of jumping, use your grappling hook straight at the ground. Then you can either combo that with your double jump or your glide to get around the map quickly. Also,
Repeat that?
Rivals, hit that subscribe button. As Moon Knight, if you want to quickly get some height, instead of jumping, use your grappling hook straight at the ground. Then you can either combo that with your double jump or your glide to get around the map quickly. Also with Moon Knight, you need to know his one-shot combo. It's very easy to do and can almost instantly eliminate squishy heroes. First, you want to throw your Ankh close to your enemy, then shoot a primary fighter at the Ankh, followed by a Moonblade, and then another primary fire. If you do this correctly, it should deal enough damage to burst down any squishy hero in the game.
Oh, imagine if they're grouped up too. Like you could take out a single person with that, but also grouped up. Ooh, you're just killing everyone, aren't you?
Don't know what a squishy hero is? Basically, it's any hero that has like 275 HP or less. Each hero's weapon has a different damage fall off range, so I highly recommend going to the practice range and testing out all the heroes in the game. Not only will it help you figure out the best range for you to be playing at, but it will also help you play against the enemy hero's optimal ranges.
I also base my sensitivity off of fall off range. If someone can't do damage past like the 5-meter mark, I kind of crank their sensitivity because I feel like the melee heroes especially need the most like ability to turn around and see stuff. If I'm like a sniper hero, I try to lower my sensitivity because usually fall off is much further away and it makes aiming just a little bit easier of a time. Especially on Black Widow. I cannot get Black Widow down to save my life. For some reason, I don't know if it's just me. I'm used to playing Overwatch where everything is very precise. There's not a lot of recoil in that game. And Black Widow moves into first person for her scope shot, but then like it's so floaty, it feels like. It throws me off so bad. And it could be my sense is too high. And I also play on controller, so it could be also that. But yeah, it's a little rough.
Ultimate abilities are going to show you the countdown to the end of your ult on the right side of your screen. Some heroes do have different countdown timers, so you may not notice them, but it's really good to keep track of every time you use your ultimate. Don't forget that clicking right on your D-pad for controller players or B on keyboard for mouse and keyboard players, it will activate chronovision, which allows you to see all the destructible areas of the map, and use this chronovision to destroy the pathways enemies like to take. There are also some unique tricks you can pull off by destroying certain areas of the map. For example, on this Yagsguard domination map, you can drop this ball and then push it into the doorway to completely block it off. off. And yeah, enemies are going to try to walk through this choke point and they won't be able to because it just straight up blocks it and you can't destroy the ball.
Well, she can.
Hero, you'll notice that some
Okay, but Psylocke could probably dash through that opening at the top, I think. But oh yeah.
heroes have this
Point taken.
yellow
Point taken.
icon next to them. This yellow icon means they have a season bonus, and the vanguards with the season bonus will have increased health. The duelists will have increased damage, and the strategists will have increased healing output. So yeah, for the most part, all the heroes with a season bonus are probably pretty strong. You can set hero specific key.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Every hero season bonus are probably pretty strong. You can set hero specific keybind, which is useful because every hero is played a little bit differently. There's also a ton of hero specific options, a lot of which I'll be mentioning in this video, but I still highly recommend you checking out your favorite hero's unique settings as well. You probably already know that Jeff can swallow up enemies with his ultimate and then spit them off the map, but you're probably doing it wrong. Instead of simply looking towards the edge of the map, you should be looking down before spitting them out. This will eliminate them much quicker and give them much less time to use their movement abilities to get back to safety. Also with Jeff, his healing has infinite range, so a lot of the time you should be playing back somewhere safe instead of in the middle of your team where you're an easy target. Now,
I think that still applies because even with the rework, it's you can heal from really far.
Goes for every hero. So most players want to get that 6-player ultimate, but a solo ult is worth it in most cases. Usually it's going to be safer for you to pull off, and you're going to be able to start building up to your next ultimate right away. And then
This is why I try not to hold ultimates. You should be trying to use it at the start of engages or to pick someone off, and there is pretty much no downside if you can get a kill with your ultimate. If you can get a kill and no one kills you, you don't even trade. There's just one person down at that point. So that's something to capitalize on, especially if they don't have a Rocket Raccoon or an Adam Warlock. Like it's good. It's good to do that.
for most heroes, if your ultimate gets cancelled, it will be set back to 50% charge. But then if you die, it will get set back to 0%. Make sure if you do cancel an ultimate, try to keep in mind that they will likely have it in the next 1 to 2 fights because they did get it back to 50%.
What? Is that a thing? Did I just not notice it as I'm playing the game? Because I guess I play a lot of support, so I never really get my ultimate canceled like that. Huh. Interesting.
Back to 50% charge. But then if you die, it will get set back to 0%. Make sure if you do cancel an ultimate, try to keep in mind that they will likely have it in the next 1 to 2 fights because they did get it back to 50%. If you're going to die while your team controls the objective, try your best to die on the objective. This will help you get the most capture progress possible. Or if the enemies are trying to push the payload, play on the payload until you die so it keeps it from moving. So Psylocke's wing shurikens can be recalled by clicking the button again to deal extra damage. Or you can wait 3 seconds and they will recall on their own. But you may not know that every time you dash, it will automatically recall the shuriken. And doing a shuriken dash combo would provide you with some quick and easy burst damage the enemies probably aren't expecting. As Cloak and Dagger, you can see the cooldowns on your alternate hero over your ultimate button on the bottom of the screen. Once you reach the rank
never noticed that.
or above, there are hero bans in competitive. But please don't ban heroes instantly. I always recommend suggesting a ban first so you don't accidentally waste your ban on a hero that your teammates play. A lot of weapons and abilities can hit multiple targets at once, so position yourself in a way that you can deal the most amount of damage to as many people as possible. Star-Lord can use blaster barrage and rocket propulsion at the same time, which makes for some insane movement while also dealing damage and making you very difficult to kill. Then make sure you follow the next Star-Lord tip before it gets removed from the game. If you click your ultimate button and your primary fire at the exact same time, it will completely skip the animation and give you aimbot immediately. And it's kind of overpowered since you can eliminate the enemies before they can react with their own ability. You need to understand
that probably won't stay for too long.
Vanguards create space for their team and disrupt the enemies. Duelists deal damage and pick off enemies. The strategists help support their team and help enable them to do their best. Of course, there's a lot more depth to the game than just that, but knowing the basics of each role is essential. Play on high ground as much as possible, and for multiple reasons. First off, it's going to be easier for you to shoot and use your abilities downwards than it is to use them upwards. You can also always jump off of high ground with no fall damage at any time, but then if you want to get up to high ground, you're either going to have to use an ability for most heroes, or you have to run up and find some sort of staircase or some other pathway to get up to high ground, which is going to take a while. You also need to be playing around cover more. Mostly everyone knows that they should be using cover, yet they still don't use it as often as they should. You should always be trying to hug a piece of cover unless there's a specific reason that you can't. As Black Widow, your hipfire will deal the same amount of damage as zooming in during close range fights. So you should only really be scoping in during long range engagement, since zooming in slows your movement speed, and you also have a hipfire plus kick one-shot combo. Try using a different sensitivity for different heroes. For instance, on aim heavy heroes like Punisher or Hawkeye, you're going to be benefiting from a lower sensitivity. While movement focused hero like Black Panther is much better on a high sensitivity. Hulk's second ultimate, his Monster Hulk, will replenish his health. So I find it's best to soak up damage and waste the enemy's abilities, and once you get low on health, use your ultimate. You should also communicate this with your strategist so they don't pop their own ultimates trying to save you. Jeff's ultimate is extremely annoying to die against. Luckily, you can counter it with your own Jeff. All you need to do is use your ultimate as soon as you hear the voice line from the enemy Jeff, and then when he chooses his location, use your ultimate right on top of it. You can both save your own team and capture the enemy Jeff to throw off the map. You need to learn at minimum 2 heroes from each role. Being good or at least competent at each role make it a million times easier to climb the ranks, as you don't need to rely on your teammates to fill around you. I also recommend duo queuing with a friend who plays a different role, and this is especially good if you can abuse team up abilities each match. For example, a Hulk Iron Man duo or even a Namor Luna duo is going to be really strong. But don't forget about the next tip: memorize the voice lines for each ultimate. This is important for everyone.
I'm still working on that. I'm still working on that one. Sometimes I'll hear an ult and I'll swap which ones I think it. So like there's different ult audio for whether it's on your team or the enemy team, and sometimes I can't tell the difference, or like I mix them up fully. That's a rough one. I try not to though, but I'm usually pretty good about it. But there are times where I'm like, I'm just gonna hide for a second because I don't know which one it is.
Only important for a strategist player, as you're usually going to be the first target with those ultimates. You can also turn on subtitles in the settings, which might help you learn the voice lines a bit easier. Then if you ever play Winter Soldier, you need to learn this overpowered combo. First, you want to pull the enemy towards you with your bionic hook. Then you want to take a step around them and then use your trooper fist ability to push them into your team. I call this the pull-push combo, and it almost always guarantees you with a free kill if your team follows up. A Punisher on his turret is a very easy target for any flanking duelist, and you should try to take advantage of this opportunity to get an easy elimination. Loki's runestones or regeneration domains converts all incoming damage to healing for his team, so there is zero reason to do anything except destroy it when enemies are playing inside of its radius. And even one-shot abilities like Iron Man's ultimate won't do any damage to players inside of the magical field. Squirrel Girl's ultimate can be destroyed, and it only has 300 health, so if multiple players are shooting it, it should be quickly taken care of. When you die during overtime, quickly switch to a hero with increased movement speed to get to the point faster. I also love to switch to Raccoon, as he can throw down a respawn beacon, and having that one extra life during overtime can make a huge difference in the outcome of the match. Going into your settings and then into the audio tab, make sure you turn on 3D enhancement. This is going to help you hear exactly where sounds are coming from in game, so you can quickly locate players and abilities like a flanking duelist sneaking up on your support. Use your microphone and communicate with your team. Marvel Rivals is a team game at the end of the day, and the team with more communication is always—
You're not wrong.
But if I can't convince you to use your microphone, at the bare minimum, use the in-game ping system. Destroy enemy equipment as soon as possible. Things like Namor's turret—
Yeah. Good luck getting marginalized groups to want to use the microphones, because marginalized groups get the brunt of some of the worst behavior on the internet. So, me personally, I don't even bother. I group up with friends, and I play alone, and I do just fine most of the time. I'm not some insane high-rank player. I don't exactly play it a lot. It's not like my main content all the time, but yeah, I don't do bad, and I just solo queue or play with friends, and I'm honestly gonna keep it that way, because, people suck, dude. People can suck. Not everyone does, but
use the in-game ping system. Destroy
ping system's important
as
though.
soon as possible. Things like Namor's turret, Penny's spider net, or Loki's clone should be the first target in each fight, as without them, those heroes get very little value. But if you leave them alone, those heroes quickly become overpowered. Try your best to combo abilities, as putting them together can make them much stronger. Probably the most OP combo I can think of is Groot and Moon Knight ultimate, as it can kill through any of the support ultimates in the game. You could also do something like a Mantis Assault with a Punisher to get that speed boost and the extra healing to keep Punisher alive. alive. This next tip is pretty straightforward, but surprisingly a lot of players don't know about it. Cloak and Dagger can fly by using her dark teleportation. I see almost every Cloak and Dagger players lock themselves to the ground, but using more verticality will help you stay alive much longer. There's a lot of heroes in the game
I do that a lot.
Primary fire animation with melee to maximize their damage output. Doctor Strange is a great example, and also Magic with her sword. Hawkeye's ultimate will instantly charge up his arrows to 100%. So I find the best way to use it is to completely forget about headshots and instead just spam shoot at the after images. Now,
see, I was trying to teach myself about Hawkeye a little bit, and I just did not realize that it's 100% charge instantly. I never realized it until, oh, I don't know, several weeks after playing him.
Is to completely forget about headshots.
This is why you should watch educational videos, everyone. This is why you should be a little bit more self-analytical and a little bit more critical of your own gameplay, because that is something that took me weeks to understand, and I haven't even gone back to try him. So who knows? I might be insanely rusty.
And instead just spam shoot at the after images. Now, Psylocke's ultimate splits her damage between all of the heroes in the ring. So technically, if there's less people in her ultimate, she is more likely to secure those kills, so you don't always want to go for a 6-man ult. So sometimes it's better to use your ultimate on only 1 or 2 players. You can even out-damage Mantis's ultimate if Mantis doesn't have enough teammates nearby. Call out your target so you and your team can focus them together. This will make you a much more valuable player no matter what rank you are. And even most Eternity level players don't even call out their target. Play to your hero's optimal range as much as possible. There's long range heroes in the game like Black Widow, but there's also close range heroes like Groot. Spend some time with your favorite heroes to learn their optimal range and play to it as much as you can.
Oh.
Dagger's invincibility will cancel if you shoot your weapon or use an ability. So do your best not to cancel if she's trying to save you from an ultimate. But then if you're the one playing Cloak and Dagger, try to tell your team to plan beforehand. Scarlet Witch's ultimate.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that's why most of the time I don't wind up cloaking anyone, really, because other people are just still firing, so it doesn't count. That's good to know, actually.
You from an ultimate. But then if you're the one playing Cloak and Dagger, try to tell your team the plan beforehand. Scarlet Witch's ultimate has one major problem. You're extremely vulnerable while you're using it. But if you pair it with a defensive support ultimate or shields from your tanks, then you can get a lot more value. I love this next tip, and I also find it very underutilized. You can block most of the heals in the game with your shield, which makes the rest of their team fall apart. If the enemy has some good tank players, try playing Wolverine to counter them. Wolverine is a big tank buster since his damage scales with the hero's max health. But the one tank that can kind of counter Wolverine is Magneto with his bubble, but if your team focuses them, they should easily break through it. But then if the enemy team has a good Iron
I didn't know Wolverine's damage scales with the health.
Man, I recommend playing either Punisher, Hawkeye, Widow, or Hela to pick them out of the sky. Then if you're on strategist, make sure you do your best to keep those players alive, as they're likely going to be the Iron Man's first target. Then if the enemy has good backline dive heroes like Psylocke, Black Panther, or Magic, try playing a hero like Namor to put up his turrets to protect your team. Or even play Penny to protect them with your
Ooh.
So Magneto can choose to either bubble himself or his teammate. But with this trick, you can sort of protect both of you. So what you want to do is bubble yourself and then try to stand
in front of them.
Teammate. And since Magneto is a big hero, the bubble should be large enough to keep you both protected. Rocket Raccoon is a crazy vertical dash movement technique, and it's super easy to do. All you need to do is start a wall climb and then immediately dash. This should send you flying up into the sky. You can also do this in other directions if you wall climb diagonally. Hawkeye's ultimate has a unique interaction with the shields in the game. Whenever he uses his ultimate, he can see these after images like usual, but then if Doctor Strange holds up his shields, it will not only protect himself, but it will also make the after images disappear. But then if he does drop the shield, his images will reappear. So you Strange players, keep your shield up the entire time while Hawkeye is using his ultimate. And the Hawkeye players, try to use your ultimate on players that have no way of shielding themselves. Since Marvel Rivals is a third-person shooter, you can't shoot enemies around a wall if you're too close to it. As you can see, my crosshair is clearly on the enemy, but every time I shoot, the bullets just hit the wall. Try to keep this in mind, and I do go in more depth on how to use this to your advantage on my 12 aiming tips video on my channel, so you might want to watch that after. But Hawkeye,
I might be following this person after these couple videos I've been watching, because this is good Rivals content. This is really good Rivals content. Wow, yeah, I'm probably gonna follow and subscribe to this person after this.
use this trick because he can charge his arrows from behind a wall where the enemies can't actually see him as long as his crosshair is near the enemy. So you do that, and then once your arrow is fully charged, you can peek out, take your shot, and then go back to cover and repeat. On the Clintar map, you can shoot the symbiote things to create alternate pathways, but even more useful, you can use them to block off areas of the map and trap enemies. On the Wakanda maps, there are 3 different map effects. There's the fireballs that will damage you, and pro tip, healing teammates that take damage from the fire will actually give you ult charge. There's anti-gravity, and there's also fog that makes it impossible impossible to see through certain areas of the map. And all of these map
Yep.
effects are activated by destroying the map. Then on Asgardian maps, all the destructible items will be restored by the gods after some time. I hit Eternity before I even found out about this next tip. Loki's ultimate blends him into the enemy team by making him look like one of their allies. And it will do this until he either shoots his weapon or uses an ability. And I'm sure you could use this trick to get some surprise ultimates.
What?
When you are low on health, let your strategist know by using... I'm sure you could use this trick to get some surprise ultimates until he either shoots his weapon or uses an ability. And I'm sure you could use this trick to get some surprise ultimates against the enemy. When you are low on health, let your strategist know by using the need healing ping.
Oh, I need to learn Loki. I need to learn Loki.
As it's very helpful, so they don't need to stare at you all game just to know when you need to get healed. But as a support player, please don't spam need healing, as it can quickly get annoying. If you're playing Luna Snow, keep your Snowflake idol on the hero that is most difficult for you to heal. And most of the time, this is going to be a flanking DPS because they simply play in positions that you won't be able to get to safely. When you see a gold outline around your health bar, that means you can't get stunned and you're immune to any crowd control ability. You can also see the gold outline around the enemy's health bar, so don't waste your CC abilities on them if you know it's not going to have any effect. Groot's walls can be destroyed by his own team, so do your best not to destroy his walls unless you absolutely have to, since almost all of Groot's value comes from his walls, and if your own team is destroying it, then he's pretty much a useless hero. There's a ton of heroes that can climb up walls, and in my opinion, players don't use wall climbing anywhere near as much as they should. Earlier I mentioned that you can look down when spitting out enemies to secure your kills with Jeff's ultimate, so if you swallow a lot of players with movement abilities like an Iron Man, a Star-Lord, a Doctor Strange, those type of heroes, I suggest jumping off the map to guarantee the kill. And keep in mind that your teammates will be down a healer since you eliminate yourself in the process. Some heroes like Storm can fly around the map, so a lot of the players like to spend the entire game up high in the sky away from the team. But a lot of the time, especially if you're being focused by the enemy team, you're better off playing behind your own team with their shields close to the ground. You're going to be much safer and you're going to be getting healed more, and yeah, just because you can fly up to the sky bugs doesn't mean that you should. Prioritize using your strategist ultimates to counter the enemy ultimate. You not only get the base value from your ultimate, but you're also denying the enemy's ultimate, which can quickly turn the fight into your favor. Use the replay system to look back at your losses. I recommend watching your deaths and start thinking of strategies that you could have used to stay alive. And while you're at it, watch the perspective of the enemy that killed you, and your mistakes will be much more obvious. You can also watch the replays of the players on the top of the leaderboards, and this should help you learn a lot about positioning and ability usage that's hard to learn without seeing it for yourself.
Oh, that's true.
Given there's only one enemy player alive, do your best not to kill them right away. Try to wait a few seconds to stagger them, which will either delay their next team fight or cause them to play 5 versus 6. Wolverine's Feral Leap ability can grab enemies that are either beside him or even enemies that are completely behind him. And a kind of overpowered trick that abuses this mechanic is to dash straight at your enemy and then do a quick 180 and use your Feral Leap to bring them into the middle of your team. And if done correctly, it should almost always be an easy kill. So Adam Warlock's ultimate is a bit misunderstood. So how it works is when you use your ultimate, you create a revive location. Then to revive a teammate, Adam needs to be in range of them. The exact location of the revive doesn't matter as long as Adam himself comes in range. As you can see this yellow line around Adam. As long as the enemies are in that range, they will get revived. Also, if you're wondering which teammates are around Adam, as long as the enemies are in that range, they will get...
I've never seen that yellow line.
Line around Adam. As long as the enemies are in that range, they will get revived. Also, if you're wondering which teammates are in range of Adam's ultimate...
Well, Adam is the next person I want to work on lording. I just finished Cloak and Dagger. I have Mantis, so that's going to be super helpful, actually.
At range, they will get revived. Also, if you're wondering which teammates are in range of Adam's ultimate before you use it, it will show their hero icon on the bottom right of your screen. Then another trick I like to use to make Adam's ultimate a bit more safe for himself is to first let myself die and then fly up into the sky with my regenerative cocoon. Then I'll use my ultimate while I'm up in the sky, which most of the time enemies aren't expecting. When playing Venom, try to wait till the very last second to use your symbiotic resilience ability, since the amount of shields you receive scales with how low his health is. But then if you're against a Venom, save your stun abilities until just before you think Venom is going to use his bonus health ability, and sometimes you're going to be able to catch him off guard and eliminate him before he can even use it. But most importantly, none of these tips are going to matter if you simply have bad aim, which is why you need to develop exceptional aim by watching this video of 12 aiming tips and tricks to go pro in Marvel Rivals.
I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. These tricks will help people who have terrible aim. But nice plug. I'm going to subscribe to you, so I mean, I probably will watch that video at some point. But yeah, no, that was very cool. That's very useful. And let me know if any of you disagree with some of the tricks below down in the comments section, or if any of this has changed, because this video was posted 2 months ago and we're in season 2.5 now, and it's it's things could be very, very different. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you return to my channel sometime soon for the videos and other streams I'm going to be doing. And until next time, peace out. Chicagobushi signing off. Bye now.